Hey, everybody. Welcome again to Carmela's Rasslin Radio Relived. I'm here with my dear, darling, beautiful friend, Jeannie. Hi, Jeannie.
Hi,
Um,
Carm.
Today, we're going to just talk wrestling. We're just going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff that's going on, stuff that, we really can't ignore. Let's put it that way. Um, First thing we're going to do is recap a little bit on last week's show about Dominic DeNucci.
Yeah. Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, we did a tribute, a whole hour tribute to Dominic. We had Dave Yohannan as a guest. We had Cody Michaels as a guest, and we had, of course, Mick Foley, God bless him, as a guest, and we also had Dominic's daughter Danielle. So it was a really, really, really good thing. Obviously, it's not going to win a Pulitzer Prize or anything, but in my opinion, we talked about it, and it will give him posterity, which is what we
Yes.
wanted to do. He'll be in the internet and he'll be on our hearts and in our minds and everything for the rest of our lives. So that's what we originally wanted to do, and that's what we did. Right, Jeannie?
Yes. It was to honor him and hopefully um he's got a lot more fans, you know, as well as he should, because again, agreed. I think he is was so underrated wrestling wise, um and everything that he contributed to the wrestling business back in the day, and how he helped bring future wrestlers who also changed the game into it.
Exactly. Exactly. And again, I know I keep repeating myself, but he had so many awards as far as titles and
Hmm.
stuff like that in other countries like Japan and Australia and it's ridiculous. Canada. He
Yeah.
had so much and he did so much, and we never knew about it. It was
Yeah.
never really publicized here. And I was saying, as close as I was to him, I didn't know a lot of that stuff. As close as
Right.
Jeannie and I were to him, we didn't know. And it's hard. It's hard to know that. But he was great, and he did a lot of charity work. When I said awards,
Mhm.
but he did. He did a lot of charity work in those countries, and he was amazing, and you don't hear about him here like that because again, he was very underrated here, and I honestly feel like he wasn't given the recognition or the accolades that he should have had.
Right.
There are a lot of wrestlers like that, but to me, Dominic deserved the recognition, and
Absolutely.
we gave it to him, and I was grateful for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Me too.
Yep. So we're going to talk a little bit about wrestling, regular
Yes.
wrestling. I want to talk a little bit about what happened last night on SmackDown.
Okay.
The bloodline is going on now, and Solo Sikoa has made himself the new head of the table. And CM Punk came out. They were in Chicago, and of course, when CM Punk says, I'm going to do it the Chicago way, or
Right.
you're going to beat me up in Chicago, you're crazy. And it reminds me of Philly. I would say not a Philly way.
Right.
But anyway, yeah. So Paul Heyman came out and was like, he was so good. He was literally in tears, and he was asking CM Punk to leave the ring and to take him with him because he's scared of Solo. And now he doesn't want to do all that stuff anymore. So at one point they came out, blah blah blah, and then Cody and jumped in the ring with a baseball bat, gave the bat to CM Punk, and he had one, and they're like, come on. And then of course Solo backed away, but then all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, another person jumps in and starts beating the living daylights out of everybody. Okay. And here it turns out that Jacob Fatu is now going to be joining the bloodline. Okay.
Ah.
So
Okay.
yeah, and I don't know if you're aware of this. There was a big, you are aware, I'm sure, the go between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Well, later on that night, there was a banging in the back door, and they opened the door, and Drew's got CM Punk over his shoulders, bleeding like there's no tomorrow. Like blood was just literally dripping everywhere.
And they showed this on TV.
Yeah, but they showed him after the blood was already there. It
Right.
wasn't like
Right.
they
Right. But
showed. Yeah,
still, they're showing a lot of blood. Okay.
they are, and they're doing a lot of uh, bold words too. you know. So they went on, and he brought CM Punk out to the landing on the way to go, like right after Gorilla, and he brought him out on the landing and just literally dropped him. And they had to take him out in stretcher, blah blah blah. So I guess that's going to lead up to a big, big match probably for SummerSlam, I'm thinking.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. I'm telling you, Jeannie, I don't know. Again, I could be very wrong, and I definitely have been wrong in the past. I really do, but I still stand by what I said before. I think Jade Cargill and Belair are going to turn on each other. I really do. I just do. It's just a feeling that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Bianca Belair. I mean, they're always like together, and oh, I love you, honey, and this and that, and that's fine. But they're both looking for the same thing. They both want to try for Money in the Bank. They're both, and I have a feeling that it's still going to happen. I mean, I was wrong for WrestleMania, but I still have a feeling that it's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's just inevitable. I mean, they do that with a lot of the tag teams and partnerships of the women, even the Bella twins, they split them up for a while, and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely common when, who knows, but yeah, most likely.
I think it's going to be a good match though, when it happens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I do. I think it's going to be a great match. They're really, again, I like more watching it now because I hate to say it, but because Vince isn't there. There seems like there's a better atmosphere in the air. Like when the wrestlers come to the ring and they smile or they laugh about something, it's almost like you believe them. They're not like nervous. Like CM Punk was like CM Punk. He just shoots off from the hip. And he was talking about old stuff, new stuff, and like he genuinely seemed calm and comfortable, and a lot of them do now. And I've read some stuff that a lot of them are saying that it is so much better now. They actually have a week off at Christmas time. It's easier for them now to go watch their babies being born, be there for graduations, birthdays, And I think that's wonderful because I think it also helped that Triple H, God forbid, went through that terrible thing with his heart. And I guess they realized that these wrestlers are people. They're human. They have families. They want to see their kids grow up and graduate and go to dancing school or whatever it is that they do. And, it's time, I think, that everybody is able to understand that these are people who have lives outside of wrestling. A lot of people, growing up too, I always thought they were just wrestlers and that's all they did. You go, you sleep somewhere, you get up, you go in the ring, come home, you eat, you sleep somewhere, and you go in the ring. And like today, that's the persona still. I went to 9 million different places. I was in Saudi Arabia today, and I was in England tomorrow, and I'm in, this kind of stuff. But which I think is wrong. I think it definitely is something that they should be allowed to do more often. So I'm really happy that it's at least happening.
I know, yeah, and it's not so much people that need to realize it. It's these owners of the promotions. Because
right, I agree.
For Vince, he didn't care about the wrestlers. He didn't care. He cared about making money and being the best, or the only promotion on the planet. That's exactly all he didn't care about them at all.
No.
And if a wrestler requested time off for, a personal reason, okay, you can have it, but you got to drop the belt.
Yeah, or don't come back. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and find another job.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that's just the way it was forever until recently. I'm still not convinced that he's completely out of the business, but
I know you keep saying that. Yeah. I know, but I think too, I forget what I was reading not too long ago, but there was a wrestler who was injured, like really injured. His leg was injured, and Vince is like, no, you have to be here tomorrow. And I believe that some of that is how some of the wrestlers wound up addicted to pain pills too.
Absolutely.
Okay? Because he would be like, yeah. It reminds me of Colonel Parker with Elvis. Oh yeah, the doctor will give you some pills. It'll take care of it. Well, yeah, okay, maybe it'll make you feel a little numb, but what about your brain? You go in the ring, and that's why a lot of times, between alcohol and drugs, the wrestlers, it showed when they were in the ring. It was like
Yeah.
they couldn't help it. And I mean, like I know how I am. Like I'm not a drinker. If I have like not even a glass of something, I'm out for the night. Could you imagine if I had to wrestle? I mean, forget it. I could barely walk if I had something to drink. But
Yeah.
these guys were expected to take things and still work and still do what they had to do. And I see too much of this on Dark Side of the Ring. I
Hmm.
see too much of this in so many ways because you, they tell you you're so easily expendable.
Yeah.
You're not here. Oh well, somebody else will take the belt. You're
Right.
not here. Oh well, somebody else will be the first man or the first woman of wrestling. And they have so many people that are so dying to become wrestlers and to have that prestige and to have that money that they'll do anything they have to do to make sure that they don't lose
Oh
that
yeah.
spot. You know.
Yeah.
And again, it takes me back to Owen Hart. Like it breaks my heart 1,000 times that happened to him.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, and again, this is only me being me. He knew in advance that clicky thing was broken. It wasn't right.
No, he
And I,
didn't know.
yes, he did. He most certainly did because it happened twice before the actual night. When he went down, he did rehearsals. He went down. When he was down and he unclicked it, it came off too fast the first time. The second time, he couldn't get it on right, and then when he came down, it unclicked again. And Martha, I believe, had said to him, "Just don't do it." And like he didn't want to get fired, and he this and he that, and I think that if that was me, I had doubts. I would be like, I don't know about that. If it costs my job, it costs my job. But again, nonetheless, it's still a horrible situation, and
Yeah.
it's happened with a lot of wrestlers, a lot of people. Um, as a matter of fact, if you remember correctly, in the very beginning when we started doing this, maybe I'll save it for when we do a Bruno show. I want to do a Bruno show,
Okay.
but everybody has the misconception of when Bruno won the belt from Buddy Rogers, how it happened. And it's like just
Oh, okay.
eating at me because I want to say what Bruno actually told me himself happened. And I believe him. Bruno was a man of honor and he never told a lie, as far as I know, anyway. But we'll get to that when we do the Bruno show. But
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about AEW now. I
Okay.
don't know how much, if you've ever watched it or do you watch it at all?
I don't. I have seen when it first came out. I did watch. I never bought any of their pay-per-views or anything like that. But when they came on TV, I did like watch a couple, and I thought it was better than WWE, but it still didn't hook me. And then COVID came, and then it was like I really am not into watching either episode without fans in the crowd.
Right.
That neither of that was their fault, but um, so I stopped watching, and I don't miss it. I don't miss it. I'll watch WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I will watch AEW. Their dark matches. They'll televise on YouTube. I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I know a wrestler, an indie wrestler that I know is going to be on it, then I'm like, okay, yeah, let me watch. But I have Tony Khan to me is a joke, and
Oh.
I just don't get it.
He's a really, really, really rich joke, though.
Yeah, yeah. Well, his
He is.
daddy is a really,
Yeah,
really
his daddy is. Yeah, you're right.
guy, but
Um,
I'm just not a fan of it, especially since Cody left. Punk, the whole thing with Punk. I mean, I didn't watch it, but it was everywhere. You could see it everywhere. So yeah, I'm not a fan.
okay, well, I watch, and I know that a lot of people don't watch wrestling anymore, especially the older wrestlers and all that. But I watch wrestling literally almost every single night except for Thursday and Sunday, only because there's no wrestling on those 2 days. Um, I tape it. I have watch Raw on Monday. On Tuesday, I watch NXT. On Wednesday, it's AEW. Friday, it's AEW and WWE SmackDown. Saturday, it's AEW, and then Sunday, I gotta go to work anyway. So, but I like to stay on top of it, obviously for the
Yeah.
show, and obviously because I do. I'm sorry, I still like it. I like watching it. But I mentioned a couple episodes ago this guy named Will Ospreay, who is on AEW. And when he first came, like he's only 31. Okay, he has great accolades as well. He was in Japan. He did a lot in Japan. He won titles. At one point, he had one title from three different countries at the same time. Um, he's not what you would call a high flyer. Like in other words, I don't think he's the kind of person like Kevin Owens or Charlotte or that kind of where they go jump really really high up in the air and then land on you. Like not like that. But his acrobats inside the ring. He's good with that. He really is. So when he first came, I was like in love with him because you know how I get.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Will Ospreay, and I was telling Danielle, I'm like, oh my God, you got to watch him, you got to watch him. The two times that I forced her into watching him, the matches were disappointing, and it turned out just like regular matches, and I think it's because I love his accent so much, but he calls himself on another level, okay, and maybe he is on another level. But I do know for a fact that he actually said it himself. He signed with AEW rather than WWE because he did not, as Triple H said, he did not have to do the grind. I mean, he'll never admit that out loud, but he has a family now. Like his current girlfriend, who he calls his wife, has a son. She used to be in a relationship with his best friend. The best friend passed away. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so he took her and the boy, and like raising the boy as his own and loves him dearly and blah blah blah. But he wants the boy to be raised in England, which is why he wanted to stay there. So he comes back and forth, I think, every single week. He goes back and forth. I mean, you got to give the guy some credit for that.
Oh yeah.
He wants to do the dad thing first before he does the wrestling thing. And he said something that was not, and I don't know if you ever heard about this on the internet or whatever, but he was being interviewed by Renee Young, who is now Renee Paquette, which is her actual last name.
Right.
And he said that he was pissed off because of the comment Triple H made about him not being able to handle the grind. And he goes, yeah, I can handle the grind, he said, but maybe while I'm handling the grind, Triple H, he was grinding the boss's daughter, and that didn't go over too well. Yeah. Yeah, the WWE
No
was not
truer
happy
statement
about that.
was ever made, but okay, yeah.
Yeah, for sure, especially while he was seeing China, but that's a whole nother cup of tea. But anyway, he made a lot of good points, and I like to see the interaction of the audience with him because it's funny when you meet somebody new or you see somebody new, rather not meet. The audience automatically does this thing that it looks like they've been doing for years. And you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, this guy just came here tonight. But obviously, with the internet and everything, like everybody's heard him. And, so like they do this big thing when he runs around, spray, and the whole place goes nuts. And it's like they did with, what's his name? Enzo Amore, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and when he came to the WWE, to the main roster, like everybody in the audience was already doing that. Oh, Enzo, and it was so cool, and I loved it. But I don't know, like I'm going to give him some more time. I'm going to give him a little bit more time because he hasn't really been in a lot of gut wrenching matches that I've seen. He's going to be in a pay-per-view called The Forbidden Door, and he's going to go against somebody named Swerve Strickland, who I absolutely love. He's a good wrestler. He's the world champion in the AEW now, and but again, they're not on a streaming channel that you have to pay for. It's $50 every time there's a pay per view. So I don't get that. That I don't do. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what's happening. Now there's a woman wrestler in AEW who I like a lot, and her name is Willow Nightingale. She is a really, really, really good wrestler. She's a good, really good. I like her a lot. She's kind of puts me in mind of a cross between Naomi and Nia Jax. Like she's a little bigger, but I believe she's African American, but she is amazing. She's really good, and even the women in AEW are really coming into themselves. They really are. Tony Storm, who used to be in the WWE, I don't know if you remember that a long time ago, didn't make it there because there were disagreements, etc. But now she is in AEW, and oh my God, I have to tell you, I absolutely love her. She is like a Marilyn Monroe. She has also this white blonde hair and the really big red lipstick and blah blah blah. And every time they film her in black and white, but everybody else is in color. And she talks like they did back then, like, oh, darling, with the cigarette and all that. But she's so good. I love her. If you ever get a chance to watch Tony Storm, you should do it. She's really good. And I'll tell you, Bryan Danielson, I think he's found his niche there. I really do, because he's so different there than he was in the WWE. I mean, I still call him Daniel Bryan once in a while, but Bryan Danielson is his actual name. But I think he has found his niche in there because he really, really, really did a good job. He fought Will Ospreay one night, and Ospreay has this one move called the Power Driver 91, I think it is. But anyway, he since retired it because when he did it to Daniel Bryan, I don't know whether it was an accident or on purpose or whatever, or it was just a work, but he landed on his head, and Will got devastated. He helped them take Bryan back to the back and blah blah blah, and he said he was going to retire it. But he has a lot of these kinds of holds, and all right, I'm rambling too much now. You talk about something, because I could go on and on and on about this.
No, you're fine. You're fine. No, I know Daniel Bryan. He, from what I understand, yeah, he's happy there. He's able to, be himself, there. So, kudos, to him. I always loved watching him work. But like I said, one of the cons of being in the know, or being a smart fan, or a mark, or whatever you want to call it, everything, I never believe anything I see, other than excellent wrestling, and unless I'm seeing that, I really don't, or if it's only there one or two matches and the rest is all crap, I'm not wasting my time. I'm just not wasting my time. So that's just me. They all could be, extremely, and of course, I'm sure they're all amazing humans, but as far as the wrestling goes, I'm just too jaded and too, unfortunately, I like going to the local independent shows, because I can see that now some of them are really bad, but some of them are, there's that diamond. I'm okay. He's going to make it. He's going to make it. She's going to make it. And that's now what I enjoy seeing, and what and I like to support them, and I've even said to some of them, I said, I get that, the whole dream of becoming a wrestler and being the WWE champion and, winning it at WrestleMania and the main event. And, I get that dream, but that dream really, that reality really doesn't exist anymore, So, and
it's funny.
If granted, Vince isn't there anymore, so it could be different, but a lot of the indie guys, they would go to NXT, or they would go, in development and things like that. And they would either, get rid of what got them so popular in, their gimmick or their character, and use them in a completely different way that wasn't good, and not, or just not use them properly. And if you didn't look like Hulk Hogan or the Ultimate Warrior, you didn't get you didn't get the push. Now, granted, that did change, but and then once you sign that contract, or once you did sign that contract, that character now belongs to Vince or
Exactly.
belong to the WWE. And if you get let go, guess what? You got to start your career all over again under another name.
Exactly.
No, that nobody's
Hmm.
really going to know. And it just,
Exactly.
just so much. Like I said, I'm not. I don't. Now that might be different now. I don't think so, because a lot of the guys in the WWE, they don't, that go from the WWE to AEW. I mean, they have to use a different name.
Yeah, yeah. I think that it is a little bit different now, as far as a little bit, like you said, more freedom and that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
I remember, and I know you do too, when the girls were only called divas,
Mhm.
they all had to have a certain body, they had to have fake boobs, they had it, and
Yeah.
now I think it's wonderful because the more time goes on, the more their skills are coming out. They're not built like swimsuit models per se. They have muscles, they have strength, they have uh, ability other over and above
They're more
their
athletes.
right,
Yeah.
more over and above their good looking. And you're right. Years ago, when Vince was in charge, it was all big people. It was um, like you said, it was like people like The Rock, and it was Hulk Hogan, and it was big brutal Goldberg,
Mhm.
and a lot of those people couldn't wrestle. It was just what they looked like, and that was it.
Right.
It was like arm drag kick, punch kick, arm
Yeah.
drag kick. And now, because that persona isn't like it used to be, you're seeing again, like you said, a lot more athleticism, a lot more ability, a lot more strategy. Where
Right.
they and that's the thing too. Like Davey was saying last week or another show, they the WWE has, their own agents. They have their own PR people. They have all this. They never have to really worry about anything getting done for them. And they get to rehearse a lot of their skits, a lot of their matches, a lot of their moves for a lot of time before like a pay-per-view or whatever.
Right.
Back in the day, there was none of that.
Right.
I'm not even sure AEW does that as much as people think, because like Will Ospreay, as an example, comes here, 1 week and he goes home, or 1 day a week and he goes home, and unless he does a lot of training there, obviously. But it's different. It's so different now than it used to be. And to compare, and like you said, they trademark everything. There was a wrestler who actually had to change a letter in his own name,
Hmm.
because WWE had trademarked it
Right.
without, I guess, without realizing it, or maybe they did realize it. I don't know.
Oh,
But
they
anyway,
know it. They
yeah,
knew
they knew
exactly
it.
what they were doing.
Uh,
Absolutely.
so I think that there's a lot going on with that. And like you said, like some of these independent guys, God bless them, they work blood and guts, man.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the world that they won't do for a promoter. I mean, and it's exactly right. If you're really, really good, you got to understand how much heat or how much popularity do you have to draw in order for WWE or even AEW to spot
Mhm.
you,
Right.
okay, when they clearly have their own. You know what I mean? So like, let's say WWE has 25 or 30 NXT wrestlers, and you're this Johnny come lately who's busted your ass in an independent, and you're working and working and working, and you really do have the capability. You're an excellent athlete, you're popular, you're good, you train, you do this, you do that. And what would it take for the WWE to look at you when they've got 9,000 other people that they're molding into what they want?
Right.
You know,
Right.
so yeah, it's hard if you're an independent wrestler, and that's the problem. I really wish a lot of our fans would promote or would patronize a lot more of the independent shows. Because I know you go to a lot of them.
Yeah. And speaking of which, and I'm going to sound like a hypocrite right now, but one of my favorite indie guys just made it to the WWE.
Who?
And Joe Gacy. He is now part
Oh
of
my
the new
God.
Wyatt family.
Yeah.
Club.
Wow.
So yeah, seeing Joe wrestle many. I mean, he was amazing, amazing, amazing. Um, uh, really like, I don't want to say violent, but or hardcore, but he did do some hardcore, but still an amazing wrestler. And it was always a thrill when he was on a card. So now that he's there, I'm very, very happy for him and very, thrilled. Whether um, knowing the type of wrestler that he was in the indies, seeing him in the Wyatt family is a little weird. But hopefully it works. Hopefully it works. Hopefully he
Wow.
is extremely successful at it. So yeah.
That is so good.
And that's
I mean,
another, like, I mean, I'm no spring chicken, but it's like, oh my God, one of my kids made it
I
to,
know, I know.
prime time, made it to the big show, you're
Is
super
oh,
proud, even though he probably wouldn't remember me from Adam. But, it's just like so good to, it's just such a proud moment to see that it does happen on the rare occasion, that it does.
that's
So
that's awesome.
only
Well,
good positive vibes sending out to Joe for
good.
making
God
it
bless you,
and
Joe.
continued success.
You go. God bless you. That's great. It reminds me of Electra Lopez. Um, Years ago, and we're going to have her mom on the show too in the upcoming weeks. She There's an older wrestler, or back in the day wrestler, named Steve King, and he was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. Very humble, very kind. He married my friend Debbie, and they had two little girls. And the one daughter wanted to become a wrestler, like, and her husband, her father, died at a very young age. He had a heart attack, and it broke my heart. And we've been friends with them for years. And the little one wanted to become a wrestler, and of course they were very good friends with, Johnny Rods, Manny Soto, the Samoans, and the Samoans have a school down in Florida, or they always had. I don't know if they still do or not, but anyway, she went there. Um, and she did so much. That girl, she worked hand over fist. Now I knew Carissa when she was little, little, little. Um, but they worked hand over fist, and she never gave up. There was a time when Daniela wanted to be a wrestler, or she thought she did, and I had talked to Debbie and seen about maybe getting her to go there, and then she changed her mind. She decided to go into art, but um, Carissa busted her butt. I mean, she really did, and no handouts, none at all. I mean, she worked herself to death. And then when I saw her in NXT, I was like, oh my God, I am so proud. Like you said, one of my babies, I'm so proud of her. And now that she's on the main roster, she is phenomenal. And I'm so proud of her. And if you ever hear this, Debbie or Carissa, your dad would be beside himself proud. He loved his family more than anything in the world, and I just love hearing and seeing stuff like that, because in
Yeah,
reality, people should be given opportunities that they're not given,
it
and
should.
that's a sad thing. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so everybody, there's a lot of independent stuff posted on Facebook from time to time. Jeannie, maybe you should post some of the ones you're going to go to, or we go to, or whatever. Put it on, like Tom Brady had a whole bunch for a whole schedule that he posted, and we went to one of his shows, which was really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go see some of the indie shows. I mean, these are people that are uh, busting their butt to get to where they need to be, and they're trying
Yeah.
so hard. So there's more bang for the buck there. You get a lot
Oh,
more for your money.
definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and
And
it's
like I
not.
said, there are some promotions, and I mean, I'm not going to name them or anything like that, that I'm not a fan of. I don't, you know, I'm not I'm not a fan of the promotions that are more, calling it backyard wrestling. Guys who, you know, think they know how to wrestle, never been to a school, never
Yeah,
really trained except for in their backyard with their friends, and think they're a wrestler, and then they go and, you know, there's too much cause for injury and not enough respect for the business, shall we say. You know, so it's just those promotions I don't go to. once I know that, okay, this is what this is. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not going to support that. But there are a lot of wrestling, ECWA, Super Crazy, SPO, which is a show that we went to see Tom. And
Isn't there something called IWF, I think, too, or
that's up north. I haven't been to any of their shows, but I only hear good. There's a lot of independent promotions in New York City that are really, really good and have really good wrestlers on. Sometimes those guys will come down, to South Jersey or Delaware or Pennsylvania, and I always make sure to go and see them because they're really, really good. But I like refuse to go to New York City.
No, I don't blame you. But
Me
you just said something that made me think of something. You said Delaware. Let's talk a little bit about the August 3rd show that's coming up in Delaware.
Oh yeah, ECWA. It's their, oh boy, it's like an anniversary show. I can't remember which one, but it's got to be around 56 because I think ECWA and myself are the same age.
Oh, wow.
So it might be 57. But and the original owner of the ECWA, Jim Kittner, they're going to tribute to him. He's no longer the owner, but a lot of the old time wrestlers and people from his era of owning it they're all going to be there. Mr. Ulala is going to be there, who I adore.
He's going to be on our podcast too.
Yes. He is going to be an absolute amazing. In fact, I'm going to a show, an outdoor show on the 29th, and he's going to be there. So I can't wait. That should be fun. And the ECW, and I think Glenn Osborne is going to be there. We talked to him when we interviewed him that he's going to be there. And I know they're posting a lot on Facebook of all these people who are going to be there, some in action, some not. Some, will just be at ringside or just kind of hanging around, getting, giving autographs.
Yeah, I'd like to go. I think I'd like to go to that because especially since it's not outdoors and it's nice and cool in there. So I think I'm going to go to that one as well.
Yeah, I've been to many of those shows. Well, you have too. You've been there. Yeah. You've been to those shows when it was under a different owner, Mark Tartaglia. But it's good, and that's another thing. Like those, like ECWA always had a like the workers were just so good. The guys were just so good, and guys you would never like. Every year they have their WrestleMania show.
That's Super 8, isn't it?
The Super 8.
Yeah.
And back in the day when Jim Kittner was there, guess who was in one of the Super 8s? So, Bryan Danielson. They have pictures of that. And there's other people who have made it that started out not in ECWA, but were, and that's just what I love about the independents is, you get to support these guys on their way up.
Exactly.
The ones who are, so yeah, that should be a fun show.
Yeah, that'll be good. But this is something that I just want to say to anybody out there who wants to become a wrestler. Don't let what we just said discourage you at all, because it's not easy. Absolutely. If it was so easy, anybody could do it. You know what I mean? But it's worth it. But don't just jump off of buildings. Okay.
Yeah.
Go to a school. All right. The Monster Factory still has school. There's a lot of places that still have school. A lot of the old independent wrestlers still have some schools. Look up a school. If you really want to find a school and you can't, contact us at 316carmela@gmail.com, and we will gladly help you. Okay. But don't give up on your dream. Never give up on your dream. Look at me, 67 years old, and I'm doing a podcast now. Right, I should be knitting somewhere, but I'm not doing that, so that's not going to happen.
I can't picture you doing that at
all. No, that's not going to happen. But I'm here, and I'm happy, and I love doing this, and I love talking to you guys. Which brings me now to the fact that we received some emails about wrestling fans who want to be on the show.
Yes.
Yes, I'm excited about that because we're finally getting some responses and I'm happy with that. But I'm going to let it go another couple weeks. Um, I need you guys to write to 316carmela@gmail.com if you want to be on the podcast. We want stories. We want to hear all kinds of stuff. We want to hear how you got interested in wrestling. We want to hear wrestlers that you met. We want to hear your opinions of the wrestlers that you met. We want to hear if you were part of the Squared Circle fan club. And if you were, what did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Would you like to do it again? Would you like us to plan another trip somewhere? We want to hear from you. You hear from us every week, and Lord knows I don't ever shut up. So you hear from us constantly, but we want to hear from you. So anybody, and I mean, I was talking to Lynn Brown the other day on Facebook, and she's like, "Well, you know the story." I said, "Yeah, but everybody else doesn't." And needless to say, we've repeated stories several times here, but everybody else wants to know. They want to know what it was like to be around these men and women who were real human beings who had to struggle and who had to make their own way. And I think it's important for wrestling fans to have a voice, to have an opinion. So we need you guys to write to us. I know I've had people on Facebook say, "Oh, I'll do it. I'll do it." I get that, but I forget. So you have to email us. You have got to email, even if you know Jeannie personally and you want to tell her, "Yeah, I'll do it." God bless you. Yes, I'd love to have you do it, but you got to send the email. Okay. Again, 316carmela@gmail.com. It should be on your screen, actually.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Yeah, right there at the top, right? Okay.
Yep.
And, so we'd love to hear from you because that's something we also want to do. We're also going to get together and have more groups of people on. I think the tribute that we had last week to Dominic, I'll be honest, I was a little nervous having like 6 of us on there. But it was fun. It really was
fun, and everyone was just amazing. I'm getting chills right now.
I know.
Everybody had such amazing stories. Nobody was talking over each other, or you can't hear anything because they're all talking at once. They were all just so wonderful and so gracious with their time. And and if you haven't seen it, shame on you.
That's right.
But go now because it really is.
Well, and if you go to YouTube and you just subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe.
Yeah.
Just hit subscribe, and every time a new show drops, you'll get a notification. Now, today, as you can tell, Brian is not with us. He's called it out of pocket. That means he's gone for the day. He now won't be here with us. So after we're done with the podcast, I am going to listen to a tape that he made for me, and I'm going to upload the stuff myself and see if we can do it as good as he does, who's been doing it for like 8 years, and I'm just doing it for like 15 weeks. But it's okay. It's a learning experience, and we're going to do it. You might not get the drop till tomorrow or Monday, but it's coming. So that's what we're going to do. And I also wanted to talk about ticket prices. This is something that we don't usually talk about. And I think with the economy being the way it is, this is just something that's a pet peeve of mine. The economy being so bad now and everything costing so much money, especially in some states more than others, people actually are still selling out shows, and these prices, especially WWE, they're very, very expensive. And I got to believe, because I know if it were me, I got to believe that some people probably save all year long to maybe go to a WrestleMania or to maybe go to a SummerSlam or, whatever. And I want to ask you, obviously we think prices should be put down again a little bit. It's never going to happen, but that would be nice. But I also want to hear some of your opinions on what do you do to pay for these wrestling tickets? I mean, what do you do? Does it cost you a lot of time to save the money? Do you just put it on credit cards like a lot of people do? I mean, I haven't done anything like that in years. I have not actually been to a live show other than with you, Jeannie, because, again, years ago, we knew so many people, we didn't ever have to pay. We just went in the back with them, and that was the end of it. And, over the years, things change, and it's ridiculous. As a matter of fact, I want to bring this up today, too. We're also going to have Heidi Lee Morgan on. uh, probably in late July or August. She was supposed to be here today, but we had a little incident that it had to be rescheduled. And we're going to bring back Mike Kalua. We're going to bring back a whole bunch of people talking about the old days. But um, Heidi Lee Morgan has a lot to tell as far as how she became a wrestler. And God bless her. She is, I believe, 60 years old now. And she ran a marathon, and she can lift, do the thing with the tires and roll them over. And I mean, the woman is in amazing physical condition. I only wish my hair was as good shape as she is, because she is amazing. So we're going to have her on. Let us know who you want to see. I mean, obviously, we're not going to get Roman Reigns. It's not going to happen. We're not going to get Seth Rollins. We're not. I mean, come on. We're just two little people here doing this, and that's the end of it. But let us know if there's any old school people that you may want to see. I'm trying to get like Johnny Rods. We're trying to get Stan Hansen. We're trying to get as many people as we can. Jeannie, is there anybody you want to see other than who I just mentioned, or we have?
I know at some point we are going to do it, so I kind of, it's already on my, checklist for it. But I'd like to see some of the old TWA guys, and a lot of the guys that kind of that we had at the store for public appearances and signing autographs, and just a lot of those guys, that were on, I mean, we've already had Tom Brandy. I know he's going to come back and do another show, but I definitely, we didn't, like he said in his interview, we didn't even scratch the surface, so we definitely need a part two of him. Yeah. And Mike Kalua, and I know a lot of the, like I said, the early TWA guys that were also part of Saroma, Johnny Hotbody and DC Drake,
Tony Stetson, yeah.
Tony DC Stetson,
Drake, yeah.
I would love to kind of also get their kind of like a little tribute to Larry Winters.
Definitely.
But and I'm sure that's all coming, and a lot of things are in the works, and they're scheduling, and I don't know if you want me to say or not, but I know there's somebody in August.
Yeah, you can say it. And I already mentioned his name, but yeah, we're working on that.
Manny Fernandez.
Yeah, he's coming in.
Who I remember, he was so sweet back in the day. Oh my gosh.
He still is. I talked to him on the phone.
Yeah, yeah.
Like so nice. I was like, "Is this you, really?" But he's telling me he's having a barbecue and he's out eating with the family, and and again, like I said, you don't picture this raging bull,
right?
Blood all over the place, talking like, "Hey, man, I just had a barbecue." It's so cool. I love that. Yeah. I still love it.
But I remember back in the day, when we used to all just kind of hang out at the airport Marriott. He was there and so kind, so. Very. Very, very fan friendly, like very, he never had a harsh word that I heard of or anything. In fact, one of my friends that I can picture her, but I can't remember her name to save my life. We used to hang out. She had the biggest crush on him, and she was like in love with him, and he was just so kind to her and very nice and very sweet, and
yeah.
It was fun times.
Yeah, and I mean, for the times that there were bad things that happened, then there were some. The good things outweighed them all the time. I mean, it was worth it. Back then, again, like I said, you were allowed to go. You were allowed to hang out with the wrestlers. We used to go to the Marriott, and we'd all go in the bar, and there'd be like 900 fans with 900 wrestlers. But everybody was nice to everybody else. Everybody talked to everybody else. Everybody, we had a ball. Oh my God. We were up till like 3-4 o'clock in the morning sometimes. And it was great. We had a ton of fun. And I remember one time, if I can get a hold of him, I'd like to have him on the show too. Zeus, remember Zeus? He was also on He had that one eye thing, and one eye was a little,
Oh my God, yeah, he
yeah,
was like a bodybuilder.
yeah, yeah. He was
Oh my
one of the
God, yeah.
kindest
Wasn't
people.
his real name Ike?
No, oh no, wait a minute. No, that Ike is a different person. He was Mr. New
Okay,
Jersey. The Ike
okay,
that I was friends with,
yeah,
he was Mr. New Jersey.
right,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
this is
I have pictures. Yeah.
yeah, this is news. He did a lot of movies. I forgot what movie he did. Um, I want to say The Longest Yard, but I don't think it's right. The original one, I don't know. But if I can get a hold of him, we'll have him too.
Okay.
He was awesome, and it's funny because every time these big guys were on the elevators with us and everything, everybody'd be like, oh my god, I'm afraid to say something, and then you have somebody like me saying out loud, well, just say hi. If he doesn't say hi back to you, he's just ignorant, no good. And then they don't look at me and be like, all right, I'll say hi, geez. But we used to have a ball.
I actually insulted Ric Flair's shorts one time in an elevator.
Did you? What did you say?
I did, and because I idolize you so much, I just adopted your personality. Not that you insult people or anything, but we were in an elevator. We were going down to breakfast, I think it was, and he got in the elevator and he was wearing, and again, this is like mid 80s, mid to late 80s, and it was the first time I'd ever saw bicycle shorts,
Okay, yeah.
spandex bicycle shorts, and he had on these black spandex bicycle shorts, but they had these like neon colors through, and it just looked like, what the hell is that? And we're going down, and I just couldn't, and I was just like, oh my God, Rick, where the hell did you get them ugly shorts?
Uh,
And he just looked at me, smiled, but kind of gave me like an eyebrow look, like, what? And that was just as the doors were opening, and he went and he was going to the gym to work out. We went to breakfast later on that night, seen him, and he was dressed normally, and I'm go, Rick, great match tonight, whatever, and he's like, yeah, he's like, but you made fun of my shorts. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like he remembered,
he remembered.
like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it was just that morning. But,
Yeah.
And I remember, I'm like, I'm sorry. I just never seen them before. It was just,
He was always very kind. He,
he
he
was,
was too,
he was.
except when he drank, but he was always very kind. When he drank, though, he went the other way. Like, he wasn't nasty or anything like that, but he
Yeah,
would
no,
go,
no. Yeah, we've seen him many times drunk.
oh my
And
God,
he
oh my
wasn't,
God.
I never seen him do anything, well,
he
anything.
was he was
It
a
was,
great entertainer. Let's put it that way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember one time, we had, me and a few friends had gotten a room there at the Marriott, so we didn't have to drive home drunk or anything, and went to leave the room to go get some ice, and walking down the hall is Ric Flair, kind of just all natural. I was like, alrighty then, and I just
Yeah,
went
yeah,
back
he
to
didn't
my room,
care. That's funny.
but you
But then
know,
he had that big fur coat. And whenever Ric Flair came anywhere with that big fur coat,
yeah,
you could almost bet dimes to donuts that there was nothing underneath it. And
yeah,
he'd be wooing all over the place, and everybody would
yeah,
be wooing
yeah,
right back at him. So, but he was always very kind. He was always very
yeah,
sweet. And
absolutely,
it's a shame because some of the wrestlers were um, average, normal. Some of the wrestlers were rowdy when they drank. Some of the wrestlers were funny as hell when they drank.
yeah,
Um, and it was fun. We just had so
it
much
was,
fun.
it
And
was,
like now, again, I reiterate, now it's like you'll never have those experiences again.
no,
It'll never happen. The only way it happens like that is if you are already friends or family with the
yeah,
wrestlers that are around today. That's the only way it'll happen.
yeah,
Wrestling fans do not mean anything to the wrestlers like they did years ago. Years ago,
yeah,
you were able to be a friend to a wrestler. Now you are part of the universe, which gives you no identity at all. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's a WWE universe. All the times, like CM Punk said last night, everything I do for all these people. No, you don't. I know you want to say that, that's cool, but you do it for the money like everybody else does. And a
Yeah.
lot of times people enjoy it, but years ago, that's what they did do it for. Because if they didn't fill the house or they didn't pull in
Right.
the tickets, they were out of a job. So
Right.
that's important. And a lot of times years ago, wrestlers had to sell tickets
Mm-hmm.
themselves and pull people in. So don't let
Yeah.
anybody fool you today when they say, everything I do for the fans, because that's not 100% true. It just isn't.
Yeah.
And, they just are like, well, very few people look at the fans and say, well, these people pay my salary, so let me go out of my way a little bit for them. A lot of wrestlers do go out of their way for people.
Mm.
Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But a lot of wrestlers, just like entertainers, are like, look, you pay me to do what I do on TV, on the screen, in a movie, or in the ring. That's as far as it goes. That's what I owe you. I owe you a show that you paid for. I don't owe you a friendship. I don't owe you a cup of coffee if we're in the same airport together. I don't owe you, and I don't agree with that. I don't. I'm sorry. My daughter yells at me all the time about that. She goes, "But mom, they're right." I said, "No, they're not. I don't think they're right at all. I think they owe you everything, because if it wasn't for the fans, I'm not saying they shouldn't have a private life. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, a lot of them are like, they make it very public. If you see me in the airport, if you see me on the street, don't say hello to me. Don't say, I will not sign autographs. I will not do this. I will not. I don't think that's very nice. I just don't. I think that,
Well, no, I agree. I think there's some celebrities, who, um, have just become so uh, egotistical or narcissistic or whatever you want to call it, um, that they might feel that way. But I also think that not all of them feel that way that do that. Some of them, it could be they have major anxiety about people, some type of phobia of, oh my God, like, because there have been so many fans over the history of, I remember back in the, was it early 80s, maybe late 70s, where I think it was the 80s, um, you know, stalker fans, coming up and killing them. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, yeah. I
that
mean,
fear is real for some people, that, like, oh my God, like if they have that phobia of that, always thinking that, oh my God, stalkers and stuff. So I don't think I think a lot of them are, that egomaniac thing. But
mhm.
I think the others that do it, I think it's more of a phobia thing, and not wanting, just the fear of, and it's so rampant nowadays.
Yeah. But like today too, most of them, especially in WWE, have like their own bodyguards and their own, which they need. I get that.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna stick to what I said though. I think
Yeah.
that, we can. That's why we have an open forum, because we can both have our own opinions. And I just feel like, if I was ever that popular, which ain't gonna happen. But if I was ever that popular, and I know that the people, put me in that position, I think I would be a little bit more forthcoming than some of these people are. Let's put it that way. No, I
Right.
wouldn't want 9 million people all over me, jumping on me, trying to hurt me, or no, nobody wants that. But I think like, sometimes the wrestlers are just rude. Like, look at what happened with Ultimate Warrior that time with that little kid. Kid asked him for an autograph. He got mad. I think he ripped up the picture. He did. There's no need for that. Vince
Yeah.
made apologize. I think and we'll talk about that another week too. He had to do a whole segment on apologizing to that little boy because it was wrong. And
Yeah.
Vince wanted him to be so successful that he made him apologize. And boy, was he pissed off. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to apologize, but he had to. I'm gonna say this, and then hopefully, if you don't have anything else to say, we're gonna close. But I heard a rumor, that, guess who may be going to AEW? Only a rumor, probably wrong. I'm just saying.
I have no idea.
Shane McMahon.
Oh, I did see that. I did see that. I don't think that's happening.
I don't think it's going to happen either, but boy, would it be nice. What a kick in the head that would be to many people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it would be a big, I mean, I just don't see him doing that at all.
I don't know.
If he does, that would be something,
He's had a
but I
history.
still ain't watching him.
He's had a history of doing things, not getting along with his dad, and doing things on purpose.
Oh, I've definitely heard stories. Not a nice guy.
Yeah, no, he did
Outside
a
of
lot
that.
of things to upset his father.
Oh,
Probably
not just
rightfully
that, just
so.
being,
Oh yeah, no, but I mean, I'm talking about Vince because
yeah.
Shane has done a lot of things to give. And let me tell you something. Not 100% unwarranted either. Vince was not the kindest, best guy in the world, and especially not to his
Or
children, from what I
father,
read.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or father or husband, But that would be something to see. So let us know what you think. Let us know, what do you think is going to happen? What happens if Shane goes to the AEW? Do you think he might get involved with Tony Khan and make the promotion bigger? Who knows? I mean, let's think about it. Let's talk about it. We want to hear from you. Hopefully, you enjoyed today's show. We sure really enjoyed bringing it to you. And again, the email is right on your screen. Email us about anything you want. We're going to upload the show. We'll post it on our social media when it's up. And thank you. Thank you for listening
Yes.
every week. Our numbers are going up, and we're real happy about that. So please share anything that we put up on Facebook with regard to the show. Please feel free to share it. Please feel free to comment on it. Please feel free to email. And subscribe. Like I said,
Yeah.
subscribing doesn't cost anything. It just ups our numbers, which is what we want. Okay. Jeannie, you got anything else before we go?
No, just have a great rest of your week, and I'm sure I'll talk to you, and hopefully we'll be seeing you this upcoming weekend in
This
person.
weekend. Yes, yes,
Yes.
God willing. And please be careful with the heat. Okay. I'm just going to say
Yes,
this
you
now.
too.
Yes, please, because you have to, it's ridiculous. This is why I hate the summer. Okay. But thank God we had our summer solstice, and I already posted on Facebook starting
Yes, you did.
today. It's going to be a couple seconds darker, a couple seconds sooner. I love that. Anyway, we'll see you next week.
All
Everybody
right.
have a great day. Love you, Jeannie.
Bye. Love you,
Bye bye.
Carm.
Love everybody. Take care. Bye.